Hi, this is David with DK Cattle Company. Today I want to make a quick video talking about how we grazed last year on 3 acres and how that's changing this year and how our system is kind of evolving as we get more into it. First, I wanted to say thank you to all of the subscribers. We just passed over 100. We're almost at 120 subscribers right now, which is pretty exciting. We've had this YouTube channel for less than a month now. So to see that much growth and that much attention that early on is pretty exciting. I'm going to continue to make at least 3 videos a week, you know, going into the summer. More content about what we're doing on the farm as well as time goes on. So I really appreciate your viewership, and I really appreciate the subscribers to the YouTube channel. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel if you find any of this content helpful. I'm going to continue to do more educational videos and more how-to videos, not necessarily like what I'm doing today sort of thing, unless there's like some sort of educational value in that. So thanks for subscribing. Let's get into the video. So how we grazed last year was more of a traditional rotational grazing type model, where we have 3 1-acre pastures, and we grazed 1 down, and then we grazed 2 down, and then we grazed 3 down, and then we rotated back. The problem I ran into with that was that I started the year with 3 cows, and they're 3 small Dexters, so they're pretty small for 3 acres. I was pretty understocked, so I had them on 1 for a long time. And I thought, oh, I should mow down 2 so then it grows back and is like more nutritionally dense forage instead of mature forage. So then I mowed it down, and I shouldn't have done that because then it didn't grow back nice because I mowed it down like the middle of the summer. I did like a lot of dumb stuff like that. And then towards the end of the year, we rented a bull. So this is in like August. We rented a bull, and only 2 of the girls needed to be bred. And then we got 2 other young girls. So we had Gertie, Pippa, and June, which are actually behind me right now, these 3. We had them on a pasture by themselves, on 1 by themselves. And then we had Mabel and Ellie in the rented bull. So those 3 on this pasture that we're on, which is pasture 3, we had them on that. But I wasn't anticipating running 2 herds at the beginning of the year when I was kind of planning how I was going to graze them. So that kind of just didn't work out great. I ended up having to feed like 2 bales in September, which wasn't that big. It was like October, which wasn't that big of a deal, but had to feed 2 bales then, and then to get them through that. And then the bull went home. I got them all together again, and then we started feeding hay like November 18th was when we fed our first bale. So it didn't go great, but that's the thing that's nice about cows, is that if something doesn't work out, Mabel, leave the camera alone. If something doesn't work out, you can just feed hay. I mean, it's nothing's, you know, nothing's life or death kind of thing. It's just a matter of how much money you're gonna blow on hay figuring stuff out. So so that's how last year went. This year we're good to run 1 herd the entire year, which will be good. So everyone's gonna be together until next calving season, basically. So that will help a lot with things. And we have them on pasture 3 right now. We're still gonna bale graze into May. We could probably we could probably put that back a whole month, but I really want the other pastures to have a lot of growth before I put them on actual, you know, pasture. So I'm gonna really leave them on here for a while on 3 here. And then we have 11 acres of tillable land that we're taking out of tillable, and we're converting it into pasture ground. We're gonna plant that in the next month. So while that's growing, they're gonna be on pasture 1 for about a month, pasture 2 for about a month, and then pasture 3, which is what we're on right now, will have grown up by then. So then that will be grown up, so they'll go back to here, and then we'll start grazing those 11 acres of tillable land that's converted to pasture. So we rotationally grazed it kind of traditionally this summer. Like I said, I messed up by mowing it, which was stupid. And then this stuff that we're going on this year, the 11 acres, we are going to do more of a regenerative amp grazing system. We're going to move them probably every 3 or 4 days, like a half acre at a time, grazing a third of it, leaving a third, and trampling a third is kind of the principles, the regenerative ag principles. We're gonna try to follow that going on to there, and we'll probably stay out there. So grazing these 3 will probably take us into August, and then we'll graze that 11 acres probably into the winter, and then we'll do something similar next winter that we did this year of putting them on one of these 3 pastures and bale grazing just in the pasture. And you can watch my video about bale grazing, regenerative bale grazing on a small scale is one of my videos. That's how we did it on pasture 1 this year, and I like how the way that went. So we're gonna see, probably next year we're probably gonna do something similar, just we'll probably change which pasture it's on. But that's sort of our plan. I think it's important to have an idea of what you're doing going into the year. Like I said, you're never playing for keeps. I mean, you can always pivot, and if worst case scenario, you have to feed a bale in the middle of the summer or something like that, it happens. But I always like to have a plan of what's going on. If you're grazing a new piece of land, or for me, this is gonna be my 2nd year, that first year I was taking pictures like every day in the spring. You know, this time of year, we're at March 19th right now. Every week or so, I'm gonna keep taking pictures of the pastures, and as this grass comes out of dormancy, I'm gonna really keep track of how it grows. That way, every year I could have a better idea of when I should be planning to get off hay, when I should be planning to start hay. With us going to the amp grazing on the 11 acres, we will be in an understocked situation there. So when we go over there in like August, I really plan on grazing well into December this year, and having a good mature forage that even if it snows or something like that, they can see the forage, they can see the grass sticking out of the snow, and they can learn kind of how to eat through the snow and stuff like that. So we're planning to graze well into December, and we'll probably start grazing probably mid-April next year. So we're going to take basically 2 months off of bale grazing, hopefully going into 2026. But that's sort of, you know, how we're planning this year and how we're going forward. So we're doing, you know, more rotational grazing on this, and then we're gonna go into a more amp grazing over there. We also have a few more acres that we're gonna convert into pasture eventually. And when we do that, we'll probably continue to do that amp grazing model of moving a mobile electric setup and grazing a ½ acre to an acre at a time, you know, on a 3 to 4 day rotation. So that's kind of the plan for that. Just as you get past like these smaller pasture sizes, you know, this 3 acres it was pretty expensive to fence it in, but wasn't terrible. But as you get bigger, it just doesn't really make sense to fence it in. You might as well just run a mobile electric setup that's, you know, 1/10 of the cost. So that's kind of our plan with that, and we're going to really dive deep into the regenerative grazing space and see how that plays out for us on our farm, and how that affects, you know, the landscape for us. But if you have any questions about kind of coming up with a grazing plan for the year, or any questions about small scale farming or Dexter farming or anything like that, please leave it down in the comments below. If you please like this video, and please subscribe to the YouTube channel. You guys have a good one. Thanks.